Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of Last Cloudia. As you can see today, we're going to be discussing the Colonel himself, Roy Mustang. Now, we're going to be talking about him and everything else that comes with him, like his equipment. We're going to talk about the arc. And at the end of the video, I want to discuss how this collab has been overall compared to some of the other collabs we've had in the past. So it should be an interesting discussion. So let's go ahead and take a look at Roy first, to a first impression. All right, so as always, we're looking at the stats when it's full. So we're looking at a wonderful set of stats here. Three of the basic stats are over 1,000, which is really good. The strength, intelligence, and mind. That's going to be really necessary for the kit that he has. And his defense is actually pretty good too. Not too far from 1,000. So let's take a look and see what else we got. Nil to stun, always a good thing. And of course, he has resistance to fire and wind, interesting enough. As far as his abilities are concerned, the S3 is definitely something to pay attention to. You have a chance to lower enemy fire resistance, so he's going to try to do a little bit of elemental piercing. Of course, since it's just a chance, it's no guarantee there. But this is definitely a fire DPS character. He's also a sniper, which is good to see. I think this fits him really well. Taking a look at his traits, the Flame Alchemist here, it says fire attack damage plus 40%, fire damage cap 4,000. When using a skill with alchemy, damage plus 20% and damage cap plus 2,000. Now, I believe when I was talking about the whole alchemy thing with Edward, I made it seem like you were doing less damage with alchemy, but I'm hearing otherwise, that supposedly it actually does more damage. You're going to get the additional 20%, an additional cap. So if that's the case, that's even better. I haven't 100% tested that, but I'll go with the pros say. Now, the other trait here of Ishval, physical attack damage plus 6% per enemy, max of 36%. When defeating an enemy, or every 30 seconds from battle start, physical damage cap plus 400, max plus 4,000, does not reset over time or each wave. So this is going to keep building. So when you're multi-wave fights, he's just getting stronger and stronger. If you're going up against a boss over time, you'll get stronger and stronger. So this is actually pretty good. It's good to see someone that can, by himself, deal a ton of damage. But the real question for me is he a team player? So let's take a look at his traits. So he has Magic up 4, Arcane up 3 and 4. We have Illusion, we have Human Slayer. Now you know how much I love my Slayers, and Human Slayer is definitely the total package. We have Auto Aura, Wisdom's Protection, because we want to have a little bit of defense and mind. Auto Regen, Auto Haste, Awaken. We have Fire Mega Drive, Fire Physical Attack, and Special plus 30%, Fire Physical and Special Damage cap 2,000. Wonderful to see. Fire Attack Raise 2, Weak Point Boost, Pose of Glory, Ale of Honor, Goddess Kiss, Thuma Ring, Piercing, Quick Trigger, Sharp Eyes, which you're going to need. You're going to need that Goddess Kiss to make up for that Sharp Eyes so you don't completely run out of MP. So really good to see together. We have Reinforce, we have Alchemy, which we stated earlier. We have State Alchemist, which also we've seen with Edward, so same thing. Flames of Revenge, so this is going to be a new one. When attacking an enemy's fire weakness, damage plus 20%. If an ally is incapacitated, fire damage plus 30%. So, with his S3 being able to potentially lower the elemental resistance, that's a good thing. But if you want to have more of a guarantee, I would recommend bringing a character with weak. That will also, up your chances of getting that resistance low enough for that skill to go off. So that'll be really good. Don't give up on living. When an ally takes lethal damage, heal that ally for HP plus 50% and apply a strength and intelligence plus 25% buff. So there he is, already being a team player. If you're going to get low, he's going to automatically heal you up a little bit once per wave. And you're going to get a little bit stronger when you're dealing some damage. So that's pretty cool. To whoever he's giving it to. We have Hawkeye's Cover. Skills and specials have a low chance to deal a very powerful fire extra attack. Ultra low chance to insta-kill enemies, excluding bosses at arena. So, obviously, if it says ultra low, I wouldn't count on that happening very often at all. As far as the first part of it, it's still a pretty low chance, but if it goes off, I assume it's going to be very strong. So, nice to see. A little bit of extra damage, potentially. We have Platoon Commander. Battle start, apply a strengthened intelligence plus 25% buff to all allies. So there he is. So he's already got defense and offense covered while being able to sufficiently deal damage by himself. So I think those are really, really good things to have. So it shows that he's not just a DPS, because just being a DPS is not enough. At least for me, you got to be able to be a team player. There's tons of DPS characters out there, but the fact that he increases your entire team's maximum damage cap or damage in general in the beginning, really, really good. So overall, I think that this guy's awesome. He definitely gets the seal of approval, and I think he's going to be good in just about everything. With Arena, I think he'll be good because of the Human Slayer and, just increases the damage. And again, the rest of your team is going to be able to do more damage, especially in the early part of the fight, so it's going to be really good. And I'm pretty sure on anything else, like boss fights and tower, he's going to be helping your team as well if you build him up. So, yeah, definitely gets my stamp of approval. We got to take a look at one more thing. Can't forget about the ward ability. So this ward, if you get him up there, basically fire damage cap plus 100. And there you go. That's for your entire account. I think it's going to be pretty good. I mean, why not get a little extra 100 for nothing? So, well, I guess it's not necessarily for nothing, but to have it account-wise is always good. Any kind of damage cap for the entire account is a good thing. So I'm happy to see this there. Now we can discuss the arc. Oh no, it's starting to rain. Now, anyone who's watched the anime understands this scene and the importance of it, so I'm kind of glad I did a little bit of a shout out here. Shout out to Hughes. Anyway, fire skill damage plus 35%. When MP is used, restore unit's HP by 25 times the MP used. When an ally is incapacitated, damage plus 100% for the next special used. So, that first part, the fire skill damage plus 35%, I mean, obviously that's going to be for him and any other fire DPS unit. When MP is used, which you could equate to, I don't know, alchemy, but potentially the spells as well, I would assume, restores unit's HP by 25 times the amount that was used. So it's just a little bit of a little help is what you get there. And then as far as the incapacitated thing, I mean, getting that extra damage for the special, very, very unique thing that's going to be kind of niche and not seen very often. So I don't know how I feel about that, but the rest of it's pretty good. Let's take a look at the skills you can learn. We got MP up 3, we got Fast Aura, Skill Boost 1, which is a new one here. SCT Recovery Speed plus or minus 10%, damage plus 20% for the first skill. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I think so. I think for 4SC, that's going to be worth it. There are certain characters that I would 100% see this being really good for. Kohaku, for example, because she's super fast. It basically teleports you right behind that person to deal that damage. So really, really good start there. Could be good for Lilibet when she hits that person from long range. So this is actually pretty strong. I'm not going to lie. And it's not for a certain time period, too. It's just straight up there. For 4SC, I think that's pretty good, not gonna lie. Anyway, we have Fire Attack Raise. We have Fire High Drive, which is the Fire Physical Attacks and Specials, plus 30%. And the last one, yes, it's raining. When an ally is incapacitated, apply an int plus 30% buff to the unit. So, there you go. It's 5SC. Is it good or not? Hard to say. I mean, I guess it could have its purpose, but I don't know. But, it's something. I'll just say that much. It's definitely something. Let's take a look at the Arc Ether reward. This is Hughes Prized Possession. This is an accessory with 80 MP, 51 Mind. Battle End. Recover HP and MP plus 5%, and 5 seconds of SAT for all skills. You also get a plus 5 on your dark resistance. It's an okay accessory. I don't know that I would use my Ethereum to get this particular item, but it's okay. I'm pretty sure there's probably better things you could use. The thing that looks good about it is just a simple fact that if you're doing multi-wave fights, this is actually pretty decent, because again, you're increasing your SCT slots while getting other kind of buffs. So it's not bad at all. I just wonder. I don't know. I guess it's going to take play testing to see if it's how good this is. When you first look at it, you're like, seems okay, but I don't know. I think it's decent. Just not worth using my Ethereum on. But overall, it's a decent arc. Like I said, the attribute's still pretty good for any fire damage user. I think having skill boost 1 is probably one of the best things to have on there. Fire attack raise and fire high drive is really, really good as well. So overall, it's a decent arc. I'll definitely say that much. Let's take a look at the credentials. So for Roy's uniform, we're looking at a cloth. First, the stats are int plus 56, MP 40, defense 121, and mine 53. So a decent amount of increases in stats. We have continuous protection, MP regeneration effect, recovers MP plus 1% at a time, which is pretty good. Less likely to faint, and reduce your faint time. And then, of course, you have a plus 10 resistance to wind. So I kind of like it. You know, you're getting MP regen, which you're going to need if you're using them, right? Because of all the alchemy you're going to be doing. And being less likely to fade is nice. But yeah, I think it's the continuous protection and MP regen with the stats that you're getting is going to be an important thing here. Because he's going to be eating up MP, especially when you're going to keep spamming it. I would definitely use MP ups to increase your maximum MP so that you can, that 1% will add up and be meaningful. I mean, that plus Goddess Kiss should be able to, keep you filled up. So overall, I think this is a pretty good piece of clothing. I like it. We got Roy's gloves. This is an accessory. Gives you 60 intelligence, 40 MP added. And then he says fire attack crit rate plus 5%. If enemy is weak to fire, skill and special damage cap plus 2,000. And then you get a plus 10 resistance to thunder. Now, obviously this is situational. You have to be able to get them weak, so if his S3 doesn't cover it, you're going to need someone to cast weak in the party to make sure that goes down enough. Now, there is going to be some content where that's not going to be possible, which is why this is kind of iffy. I mean, like I said, the most important thing here is the potential to get plus 2,000 damage cap. And if you're doing a crit build, it's also good because you're getting a plus 5% to your fire critical attacks, right? So I'll say it's a decent item. The only thing that I wouldn't count on is the damage cap because of the fact that it's just going to depend on who you're fighting. So in specific fights where your enemy's going to be weak to fire, this is fantastic. It's just that, it just depends on what you're fighting. Now, if you're going to be on a budget, which items should you get? So I think that either one of these is a decent pick. Personally, I would probably consider the uniform because I'm not probably going to be dual wielding with him. And there's nothing wrong with dual wielding with him because he's going to deal a ton of damage, just like any DPS would. But, I like to have a little more. Well, we're not going to go into that. But, yeah, I think that Roy's uniform is potentially the better item, but not by much. Like I said, if you're just going to be using this for the sake of a specific boss fight, I think this is probably the better item just because you're getting an increased crit rate on top of guaranteeing plus 2,000 damage cap. So you could really go either way on this one. So I'm not really 100% sure which one I'm going to get once I invest more into, either the step up or whatever I'm going to do later on. Yeah, it's kind of a toss-up. But yeah, Roy's gloves is going to be good. I'll just say Roy's glove only because of the fact that you're going to be using it for specific fights. And overall, like I said, really, really good character. Good art that comes with it. Good equipment. So we got one more thing to talk about, and that's really just the collab overall. So when you look at this, it kind of feels like your average everyday event. As far as, doing your orbs to do certain, normal and hard quests. But the question is this a good collab? How does this compare to the others? And this is kind of the talk I wanted to get into. So I'm going to go ahead and set the table for you. I'm going to talk about the other collabs that we've had as brief as I can to kind of give you an idea of where this stands in comparison. So the first two I'm going to talk about are the video game collabs that we've had, Secret of Mana and DMC5. So with those two collabs, the thing that brings to the table is the music, the actual background kind of reminding you of the game itself, the actual bosses that are in there that are actually from the original game itself. There's so much of the original game being brought here to Last Cloudia during those collabs that it was just fantastic. It made me feel like I was really like going back in the day when I used to play those games, especially with Secret of Mana, because when each boss fight had its own music, which was the same music it was in the original game. Really, really good. And by the way, when I'm having this talk, I'm not talking about the characters or the arcs. This is actually just strictly about the event themselves. But yeah, I mean that's why those video game collabs were so good, is because of the fact that it brought a lot of extra to the table as far as making you feel like you're in the game. Now, to talk briefly about the two of the anime collabs, Dr. Stone and ReZero, what those collabs brought to the table was the fact that they actually brought those characters into the story of Last Cloudia and actually had something interesting going on. I mean, they had a little adventure. They met up for some reason. They had to go through some fights. They even had to fight Lily in one, and you had to fight, what was it, Eliza in the other event. But the fact that they actually made kind of a little story was actually kind of cool. I really, really enjoyed that. And that's kind of what made those two particular collabs special, was the fact that, they actually added something interesting as far as storytelling. It wasn't just playing, repeat battles over and over. And the only collab that I haven't brought up yet is the slime collab. Now, if I'm going to be honest with you, that to me was the worst collab that we've had. Because in all honesty, there wasn't much of a story, which is what I would expect from an anime collab as far as the patterns that they've used. So that was a bit disappointing with the lack of story. It was kind of just doing the same levels over and over, but I don't remember it bringing much to the table. There wasn't anything extra special about it. And that's mostly why I didn't really care for it. It was just kind of a boring collab to me. So sorry to say that about it, but that's just kind of what it was. However, with all that being said, how do you guys feel about this particular collab? Personally, with this being an anime collab, it is a little disappointing that there wasn't much of a story like they did with ReZero and Dr. Stone. So that's kind of disappointing. There's a lot that they could have done here. So it feels like, the whole just doing, your repeat battles over and over. The one thing that gives it a little bit of, I guess, cool points in comparison to the slime collab is you have the ability to basically max out the characters if you pull them, which is really, really convenient. And of course, you get it all forms for free. So there are some bonuses that this has that the slime collab didn't. But other than that, there's not. Unfortunately, it's kind of disappointing, a little bit bland in terms of just the event itself. Remember, I'm not talking about the characters or the arcs. They're all good no matter which one you're doing. But as far as actual content, to me personally, this was a little lackluster. I don't know if they're going to be adding anything after the recording of this video, but if it's just going to be the same thing over and over, it's kind of like, it's nothing special. Like I said, it kind of goes mid-tier for me. Whereas, the four that I mentioned first are definitely top-tier, awesome collab events for their own special reasons. This is kind of mid-tier, and then Slime would be absolute low-tier. Like I said, this is a step up because of the fact that there is some decent grind that you can do here. But outside of that, there's nothing special to brag about, at least in my opinion. Now, if you feel different, I'd like to hear your view on it. Like, if you want to post it in a comment, I'd be happy to see how you feel. Is there a specific collab that you thought was better? Is there something that I didn't mention that highlights one of those other collabs more that was special to you? But I kind of wanted to bring this up because I just thought it was interesting. Even though this is the newest collab, I feel like it's doing a little less storytelling. And the reason that I'm being so critical about this is because I know the devs are good at storytelling. I mean, just by the normal game itself, it tells a nice, wonderful anime story. You're literally playing an interactive anime. And then with some of the collabs, they actually do bring good stories, specifically with the anime one. So there's a little bit of a set expectation that I feel like just was not met here. It was basically, we're not going to really do a story. We're just going to replace it with a little bit of a grind and hope that's okay. Uh, like I said, that's my only critique is that they should have done a little more of the story. Now, yes, when you first play the game, it does start off with you like in a fight, and Alphonse comes to help you. But after that, there was no other story content. You were just doing levels. There was no leading up to any boss fight. I was actually hoping that with the Roy part two of the collab, that they would maybe, I don't know, expand the story a little more of just something simple. And nothing really happened. You just got, more levels. And that's pretty much it. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So, like I said, I'm curious to see how y'all feel about that too. Because, like I said, even though I like the collab in general, I just feel like it's missing the story, which is, the best thing about the anime collabs in general. What do I want in the future? I would like to see another video game collab. I mean, we now have 4 anime ones and 2 video game ones, so I would definitely like to see a video game collab next time we have a collab. That would be kind of nice. I'm not gonna like throw out, ideas as far as what collab to have. I mean, I've already said my parts that I want before, so I'm not gonna worry about that right now. I'm sure you guys can figure that out and find out which developer you can hook up with and make magic happen. And I know y'all guys can do a good job. But I do appreciate at the very least that we were able to max out all of our characters. Like I said, that's probably the best thing about this entire collab is just being able to max out everyone. Kind of like how we were able to do with DMC, except this is a lot easier. So definitely more new player friendly. I'll give you a point for that as well. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts as far as how this collab is overall compared to some of the others. So, just let me know how you feel about it. And that's going to be pretty much it. So thank you for taking the time to listen to this. Hopefully this has kind of opened your mind to, I wonder how this collab has been and what have I missed on the other ones. But until next time, just keep gaming. Take care, everyone. Later.